Melissa said, don't do that. All right, guys, we're going to be talking today about the top 10 sources for lead generation. And we're going to give the attendants 5 more minutes and then we can get started so we can get going with the material. Hello.
You hear any yells behind the wall?
And then listen to you guys talk. Is this right?
Yeah.
Wait, how come you can hear me?
Because you're not muted.
Oh, no, I am muted.
Oh, because we're here. Because you're hearing alpha thing. Yep.
But I'm doing this right? There's no video.
Yeah, Delia, you're doing it right. You can do video.
If you have any questions, I can unmute and answer.
That's right. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But you know why it's not video?
I'm screen sharing.
It's dialed in.
Oh, you dialed in, but if you go on Zoom and
Try it again.
Oh, you can call the number?
no, she can go on Zoom and put the meeting ID. It'll take her to the screen.
That's what I did, but then it asked me to dial in.
Oh, there's 2 options, either dial in or, what is it, Wi-Fi?
Okay,
It gives you the option of sharing the
I
video.
got it now.
We need a battery for this.
And then,
It's all we've used for the last 5 months.
Hmm?
Zoom is all we've used.
Oh, no.
how do I know to mute it? I mean, obviously you can't hear me. See, that's what I did.
Not muted. Yep, you're good. But the only reason we hear you is because you're here in the room.
Huh?
The only reason we are hearing the echo is because you're here. All right. So everybody, thank you for attending. Today's class, we're going to be talking about top 10 lead generation sources. Those top 10 lead generation sources kind of are considered to be your backbone or kind of like your roadmap to how to go about generating buyers and seller leads. And mainly when we talk about lead generation, our focus is obviously mostly on seller leads because this is how you earn market share. This is how you put your yard in a sign, and this is how you guarantee yourself a portion of the sale. As a listing agent, you're pretty much controlling the transaction from start to finish because you actually are holding the listing whereby everybody's getting paid. So as you see on here with the top 10 resources, we have them, those are in no particular order. They're just numbered out there. So that doesn't mean that those numbers, one is better than the other. It's just, we try to put a list together of the different resources or the different sources of leads, and this is what we come up with. Your Met database, is people who are in your world that you have met, that you have talked to, that you have some sort of a relationship with. Could be friends, family, prior clients, past acquaintances, so on and so forth. Those are people who actually know you and know who you are, and the conversation with them has its own special way of dealing with it because a lot of it is relationship building. So you've already had the relationship built with those people. It's just a matter of you informing them that you are actually now a real estate agent or you're looking to get business from them. Geographic farming. Geographic farming is basically, from the word farming, it's no different than when a person actually farms a piece of land or a piece of agricultural, where they would actually generate crops from that farm. Same thing with the real estate geographic farming. You will pick an area. A lot of people pick areas where they live because it's areas where they are familiar with. They know the streets, they know the neighborhood, they know maybe some of the neighbors. So they pick that geographic area and then they start marketing to that geographic area on regular basis. And that's called geographic farming. Geographic farming takes a while or takes some time, but it's also there's a lot of successful realtors that built a whole lot of business based on geographic farming. FSBOs, or for sale by owners. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just something I remembered about geographic farming. When we were in Dallas this year, I was amazed at the results that some agents had in Dallas with geographic farming. Like this one lady in Tennessee with her team of 3 agents controlled 67% of the market share in her area in Tennessee.
Wow.
Literally 67% of her market she had
based on
her
farming.
Team. And she said it took 5 to 10 years to build it, but she was doing neighborhood events. She was doing like a food truck, neighborhood food truck. She had a neighborhood shed where she had all the tools and lawnmowers and stuff. So if anyone in the neighborhood needed a tool, they could go into her shed in her backyard and get some tools and stuff. But I was amazed. I mean, 67% of the market, that's huge.
That's a lot. That's huge and that's big. For sale by owners are people who already raised their hand and said, hey, I'm looking to sell my home. They just have not found the right agent to hire or to ask for the business to get them to sell the home. A lot of for sale by owners start off as a for sale by owner. Very, very, very few continue to be a for sale by owner by the time they get under contract. So I think the stat from the National Association of Realtors is, I think 96 or 97% of for sale by owners end up listing with an agent or having an agent get involved at some point in the transaction, either by getting them an offer or by actually ending up listing the property. So even though they say I'm for sale by owner, very few end up selling it on their own. So there's a big opportunity there for us to grab. Expired listings. These are people who tried to list the home at some point and it did not sell. It stayed on the market for a while for many reasons. It could be the price, it could be the marketing, it could be the timing of the market, it could be a deal or two that fell through that did not happen because of lending or whatnot. However, those are an opportunity for us to have a conversation with those people because, again, those are people at one point that solicited the services of a realtor and they said, I will be willing to list my home and list my property. Can you help me sell it? So for us, those are an immediate source of business because those guys already solicited services of a real estate agent. 5, which is a big one these days, is open houses. And the reason it's becoming bigger and bigger with time is because of the amount of low inventory that's on the market. A lot of times when buyers or clients in general start getting demotivated because the agent can't find them the home, they go out and hunt on their own. And a lot of them will end up visiting a lot of open houses without telling their agent that they are going out there to see open houses. But they're basically trying to do the work themselves. So if we are in front of these people and we are holding the open house, there's a very highly likely chance that we're going to get a significant amount of traffic coming in, especially because there's not a whole lot of homes that are out there on the market right now. In a market where there's a lot of homes, open houses are not as important as they are today with the low inventory. So open houses are on the rise, and I think they'll continue to rise. Another method of lead generation is door knocking. And when we say door knocking, we're talking about actually, foot soldiers on the field walking a neighborhood or walking a particular area or walking a particular farm and basically introducing yourself. You can have door hangers where you'll knock. If they're not there, you hang it on the door, or you can basically introduce yourself, hand them a business card, maybe a flyer that you have about particular information as it relates to their neighborhood or to the industry in general, and this would be the way you would go about door knocking. There are agents who are actually door knocking properties day in, day out, and they have team members that are door knocking properties. And you'll be surprised in door knocking, what it allows you to do is it allows you to touch base with a lot of agents with a lot of sellers who are not on the market, who you wouldn't have otherwise been able to connect with, that might have something that your buyer is looking for, or it might help you get a listing prior to it being on the market. The just listed, just sold circle prospecting. This is very popular among many real estate teams. And how many of you see that a home gets listed, let's say on Waverly, right? And a week or so later, another home on Waverly, 3 houses down, gets listed by a different brokerage. Yeah. Right. And we see that because a lot of people circle prospect around the first listing in terms of grabbing other listings, because we know once a home goes up on the market, the likelihood of another home on the same street going up increases. The people kind of like needed that push. They needed to see their neighbor selling so that they get excited and motivated to sell, especially with rising sales prices. As prices go up, people want to ride that wave and get in on the action in terms of selling their home. So what a lot of people do is they circle it, just listed, just sold, and they prospect on it, and they call around in their neighborhood and they say, hey, we just listed a home down the street, or a home just got listed down the street if you're not the listing agent. It's 3-bedroom, asking $179,900, calling around to see who do you know that's interested in buying this home? Who do you know that's interested in moving to your neighborhood? And you go on from there. And the home that you prospect or that you circle prospect around does not need to be your own listing. You can prospect anybody's listing. You're not stating that you are listing the home. You're saying that the home got listed. So you are giving them accurate information, something to think about. Same thing applies with the just listed, just sold marketing, which is basically sending the postcard, and that's more of a passive approach. Prospecting is an active approach. Marketing is a passive approach. Prospecting is a affordable way of doing business, because all it requires is actually your labor of picking up the phone, calling, dialing. It's fairly inexpensive. Marketing, on the other hand, does not require much of your work to do. It's pushes of the button, and then flyers and postcards are going out and marketing, but it costs a lot of money. And marketing is more or less part of the nurture, whereas direct prospecting is going to get you an immediate paycheck in the next 30 days. So, and we'll talk about in other classes about prospecting and marketing and how they differ, and we may cover that here in a little bit. 9 is yard signs or ad calls. If you are doing some of the, you used to be back in the day, they used to still, some of them do put the 800 number on there where it actually call captures. So when someone calls, it captures their number and it captures, you can contact them back. There's a recording with like information on the property. Thank you for contacting our property on Oakman, 3-bedroom, 4-bed. So they're listening. While they're listening to that message, the system or the operator is capturing their phone number for you to be able to go back and reach back to those people.
I used to avoid calling those because of that.
You used to avoid calling the site. Yeah, so they're becoming less and less popular because people are calling from blocked numbers and whatnot. But nonetheless, you still get a yard sign here and there. Sometimes it's the neighbor wanting to find out how much the home's for and what can we get it for, and I'd like my brother to move in, and so on and so forth. So it generates a good conversation. Or sometimes you may get it from neighbors or from people in the neighborhood who are themselves thinking about selling, and they just want to talk to you to see what the price is and how you came about the price. So yard signs still happen, and the ad calls that are on those numbers still happen. Facebook is becoming huge, and it's becoming more and more popular the past few years because of all the Facebook ads and the Facebook campaigns that are targeting. You can do a targeted campaign to where you can generate some serious amount of targeted leads. And Haas does teach a command class along with Sean and Tony on the tech on how to design a Facebook campaign through command, because we do get significantly discounted rate with a high level of return on your money. So we could be generating leads for as little as $1 a lead. Now, Facebook partnered with us and with Command through Google to be able to allow us to actually target certain demographics in certain areas to where we can generate a little bit higher quality lead than your average campaign or ad lead. So that's something to think about. The bonus source for your business is nurture, which is basically nurturing what you currently have and kind of, instead of looking for new business, look at the business you got and kind of try to build from that business. The map database. Percent crisis. Skip to it. 4 laws. Build and organize. Skip through the feed it. Okay. Talk a little bit about your geographic farming. And if we want to do some calculation, those are some industry numbers through your geographic farming. If you start off by setting up the goal and how many units you want to achieve from the sale of a particular geographic farm, then we can work the numbers backwards on what is it that, how many homes that you need to target. So if in this example, if you're choosing to close 12 units from geographic farming, you would need to generate about 60 sales. You need a farm or an area where there's about 60 sales in there, just based on the ratios. And with that, at a 7% conversion, which is, I would say over time is a very possible number to achieve. Because remember what you're doing with farming. With farming, you are counting on a 33 touch or a 36 touch in front of those people every year, every month, so on and so forth. Mike Phillips does one of the best farmings we have in our group, Michael Phillips group. And we have been doing this for over 5-6 years. It's this year and this past year that we started to recognize or realize the importance and the revenue and stuff. Are we now starting to get calls from people saying, yeah, we do see your postcards. We actually called because of your postcard, so on and so forth. But that took consistent amount of approach and consistent amount of touches. And we are probably, I would say the 7% is a pretty accurate number in terms of a return. So pick your farm. You know, the ratio is 1 to 70. So what that leads me to believe too is a lot of people say, I'm going to send out 5,000 postcards. But here's the problem with sending 5,000 postcards or 5,000 flyers. Those are costly. So everybody works with a budget, right? I would much rather you, instead of sending the 5,000 postcards once every 6 months or once every year, you're better off sending a smaller sample of 1,000 over a 6-month period. That's going to put you in front of less people more frequently. So instead of me seeing HBAZ's flyer once a year and kind of forgetting about it, now I see HBAZ 12 times. Yes, I'm not seeing, HBAZ is not going to be able to, you know, to grab my attention all 12 times, but there's a higher chance that he will grab my attention in one of those 12 or 2 of those 12 or 3 of those 12, as opposed to that one time a year. So my advice to everybody, if you're going to be farming, kind of shorten the, or limit the amount of area that you are farming, and farming heavily, farm it heavily, send it more than once and keep sending it. And that's how you're going to get the ratio improved. Reminder that, did you register for Bold?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So reminder that today, yeah, well, it starts today at 2 o'clock. So This will be the first session. So bold tactics to build your reputation. Establish your reputation first, and then your reputation will help you build that relationship. Okay? People want to deal with people they can trust, and people want to deal with people that have good reputation in the business so that you can get that repeat business. That's how you build that relationship going forward. So especially in your farm, because you're going to be picking an area where these people more than likely are going to see you and know you. You're in the neighborhood, you're the local realtor of choice. So make sure your reputation in that particular farm stays A+. 7 steps to building your reputation. Okay, step number 1, become the expert in a week. How do you become the expert of an area in a week? Any ideas?
Looking at what's active, sold, pending.
Beautiful, beautiful. Getting some market data on what's active, what's pending, what's under contract, what's sold. Coming soon now also. Okay, so market data is one of them. Be informed about your particular neighborhood. If you tell me I'm gonna go out and farm or become the local neighborhood expert of Levagood Park, what do you need to know about Levagood Park?
You need to know how many houses are active right now.
Okay, so market data, we established that. We need to know active, pending, sold. What are parks, schools is it's very important. Local churches, local worship, houses of worship. Local food or shopping. What's the proximity, right?
Freeways maybe.
Perfect. First listing in days or weeks, not months. So we get the first listing. You're building your reputation. You're building your reputation to actually get going fairly quickly into your neighborhood by you being the local expert. That's going to help you generate a lot quicker than you would if you were to say, I'm just going to send or farm that area and I'm going to sit back, as opposed to saying, I'm going to learn more. So in my conversations, it comes up more often and more often. Open house events. You might want to let other people in the neighborhood know of what open houses are happening in that neighborhood. So you could send a flyer for an open house. And hey, whether it's your open house or not your open house, you can always say and send, hi, I'm sending you information about an open house coming up this Sunday. Boom. Preferably if you can hold listings open in your farm, that would be the ideal situation. But there's a lot of creative ways to go around marketing. Initial marketing, ongoing marketing, outperform the market and tell everyone. Share your story, share your success. That's how you build a reputation. When people see more of you and what you're doing and the successes that you're doing, that's how they're gonna find out. And we always say, don't be a secret agent. Don't be a secret agent. People need to know that you are doing real estate and that you are having the successes that you're having. So share your stories. And HBAS, you do a good job of that, so keep it up. For sale by owners. Why are for sale by owners important? They're the fastest source of business opportunity. Remember what we talked about. These are people who raised their hand and they said, hey, I'm interested in selling. I really want to sell. They just have not found the right approach to go about selling it. So they don't know any better. They put it for sale by owner, or most of them want to save the commission. But what they end up not realizing is that they jump over dollars to chase pennies. That's what happens with for sale by owners. They don't understand that with a realtor, you're going to actually get more money for your home than you would without a realtor. And it's proven. So master the problem presentation, buyer scripts. You have to understand and learn those. Have you looked at homes in, boom, this area? So, and you can always approach your buyer, your for sale by owners that you work with a lot of buyers in the neighborhood, and you want to be able to market to them. So the scripts are there. Get with your coach if you have a coach, and he'll get you copies of all those scripts. And if you don't have them, you can let me know. I'll get those to you. Same thing with the expired listing. It's the lowest cost, highest return contact you can make. Remember, these are people who listed. So the idea of being sold on an agent is already done. meaning they had agreed to pay a commission at one point to list their property. So the hurdle over, I don't want to pay a commission that the for sale by owner would say, this actually is, we're past that. These guys agreed and said, yes, let me go ahead and list with a real estate agent. I just couldn't sell it. Now, the challenge of the phone numbers, it's getting harder and harder nowadays with all the technology that's going around. People are setting up their Google voicemails, Google numbers, just simply for that particular home. You know what I mean? And then once the home doesn't sell or sells, that number gets canceled and you can't get a hold of that seller. But with that said, there's still an ample lot of opportunity for people to actually go out and find numbers. So don't let the challenge of finding the phone numbers hold you up from actually dialing other expireds who have not done that. There are a lot of people that have their phone numbers still published. So there's a lot of business out there. And don't think a lot of people are calling them. There's a myth out there that a lot of people call for sale by owners and that a lot of people call expireds. The truth of the matter is everybody thinks that. So no one ends up calling. Very few call, okay? Just like it's the same example as when you go on a busy road, right? And you say, you know what? I know it's a busy road and I don't want to take it. I'm going to take the side road. Well, if everybody thinks that way, everybody's going to end up on the side road. And guess what's going to happen to that main road? It's going to be fairly empty. So in your for sale by owner and expireds mindset, you have to think that you're probably the only one calling. Maybe one of 3 or 4 that are calling. They're not getting bombarded by people wanting to list, okay? So don't let that hold you. Mindset is everything. Make sure you look for the red herring in terms of like on a do not call list and you know,
Maybe objections they throw at you.
exactly. And then the 2 biggest expired objections is I'm going to go and stay with the same agent and or we're going to take it off the market. Now, going to stay with the same agent, there's an objection handle for that. You know, what makes you think staying with the same agent is going to generate you any different results than it did before? Most of the times the answer is it's not. So why would you do that, right? But there's a script for that. And we're going to take it off the market. There's also another script. Was your agent passive or proactive? Old expired listings, the gift of the real estate gods. So sometimes the best thing that happened to you is grabbing an expired listing because they already went through the motion of trying whatever it is that they wanted to try and it didn't work. Now you can set the tone and how you can help them get it done. These are wounded individuals, right? They tried playing the game of I want to sell my home and they got scratched and wounded and clawed and all that stuff. Now here you come in to band-aid the situation and to make it better and sell the home for them. So expireds are very, very, and by the way, on expireds, when you do such a good job, that's an immediate and an unstoppable referral source of business because you are the hero. You came in and you saved the day. And now, you know what? We're not going to have so-and-so waste their time with whatever. We're going to have them directly talk to you. So that's how you get more source of business going through that. Open houses. We teach on an open house, level 7 open house opportunities. So if you look on the screen here, a lot of agents end up with doing either 1, 2, or 3. And many agents starting out think, well, yeah, I went to the open house and I've only had 4 people show up. Well, the first question we say is, what did you do for the open house? How did you prepare for it? And if you guys can see on there, level 1 is simply putting a sign in the yard. Level 2 is putting a sign in the yard with like balloons and riders. That doesn't take much, right?
What are riders?
Riders are like just saying open house on top of your sign, just the direction or whatever. Level 3, sign in a yard with balloons and riders on top of it. Come inside, check me out, look at finished basement, whatever the rider may be. And you also have directional signs with balloons and riders on there. As we work our way down, look at level 7. Look at level 7. Those are mega open houses. Those are open houses where you're going to be generating a ton of business. If your niche from that list of 10 things to do to lead generate. If your niche is open houses, you better do it at level 7 or don't do it at all. Don't waste your time, okay? If you say, I'm gonna be the open sign, open house, my source of business is gonna be the open house and I'm gonna work it at a high level. Do it good or don't do it at all. You put a sign in the yard, you put the sign in with balloons and riders, you put directionals around the neighborhood, you send out flyers the week before through evites and post it on your website or on the website's local communities or local whatever you do. You also invite the neighbors. So you call around 100 people in the neighborhood saying, hey, we're holding so-and-so's house open down the street. Would love for you to stop by. Let the neighbors stop by. Why? Why do you want the neighbors to stop by?
Then they might want to sell their house.
You get to meet them, people that you've never met, right? Whether they do end up selling or not, they are in your database. They are people who we now become your Mets. Those are people who you can show and say, remember the house we did there? Yeah, we can do the same thing for you, or how I did this for them, I can do this for you. Perfect. So you meet 100 people at a minimum. You get on the phone that morning and you remind everyone, just a reminder. Okay, and finally, you hold 4 other open houses in the area in various price ranges. So offer to open other 4 open houses. Now what happens? I'm sorry, first name? Rami. Now what happens when people in the area start seeing Rami week 1, week 2, week 6, week 8, oh my God, Rami is always holding open houses in our area. He must know something, like he must know what he's talking about. Let's contact him. Let's get in touch with him. That's how you start building reputation. That's how you start building your reputation as a successful agent who does business at a high level. From there, you could start building relationships with people. Does that make sense? Any questions so far?
Shoot, they might even call around and ask him if he's holding open house next week.
Exactly. Door knocking. Let's hope. Door knocking. Very low cost and very effective. Why? Because it's going to put you in front of people. It's going to put you face to face in front of people. And worst comes to worst, like I said, you leave some information for them, a door hanger or whatnot. Again, the script options, you can use the just listed. Hi, I'm not going to let you know there's a home that just got listed down the street. Or hi, I'm letting you know there's a home that just sold down the street. Specialize in the area. If there are any events coming into the area specific, make sure you talk about those areas. If there's an open house invitation, remember how we said invite the neighborhood? One way of inviting the neighborhood would be the door knock. 100. Market update information. Just want to share with you some market updates on what's going on in your neighborhood. Your neighborhood sold, the neighborhood had like 3 homes that are sold, X amount of per square foot. This is it, this is it, this is it. So you provide value, come from contribution and come from value. People would appreciate that before you ask for the business. Because if you go and ask for the business immediately, it's going to sound like you're transactional. You really don't care to give us any information. You're just here to try to get us the list. We're not interested, right? Whereas if I come in and say, listen, I'd like to share with you an event that's coming into your neighborhood. There's an open house coming up. If you know anybody who's interested, I'd appreciate it if you let me know. Yeah, sure, we'll let you know. So come from contribution. Just listed, just sold, circle prospecting. So these are some of the power dialers, mojo dialer, land voice. You don't need any of those to start. Now, 300 to 500 phone numbers in reserve, so you always have a call list. If you subscribe to Redex, you will be able to pull out Redex, R-E-D-E-X. If you subscribe to Redex, you'll be able to pull out neighborhood information in terms of phone numbers of right around a listing that just sold or just listed. And you start dialing and you call them. And the script you use is also the just listed, just sold prospecting. Now this is the prospecting. Remember, the cost is very low, but it requires a lot of labor, right? I'm doing that. Now, if we get to the marketing of just listed, just sold, that's when we start doing or advertise with direct mail. Now, this is very low labor intensive, but as you can tell, it gets expensive as you start marketing more and more to bigger and bigger farms. So you set a budget for that as opposed to a budget for your time. Right now you have time. You have time on your hand. Utilize your time to keep your costs low and actually do the activity that will help you generate. Now, during a prosperous market, the cost may not come in as that important, may not play a big role because business is good, business is coming. So yeah, it doesn't matter. I spent extra $300. It's okay. I'm making more money and I'm closing more. I'm doing all that. That's all good. That's called leading with revenue, meaning when something closes, a portion of it goes out. The problem is when the market shifts, your marketing budget is the first thing that gets cut as opposed to your prospecting. No one's going to hold you from picking up the phone and calling, but you might have to look at your expenses and say to yourself, well, during this shift of a market, I'm not sure I can afford this extensive marketing. So I'm going to scale back on that, but I'm going to double down on my efforts to try to reach people. Okay. Yard signs and ad calls. First 5 seconds of the call are very important. Transition off their agenda to your agenda. So a lot of times they call you on a sign and they're asking questions and can I see it? A lot of the questions is, can we go see it? Well, there's a way that you can control that conversation by asking the right questions, mainly as it relates to, I'd love to spend the time and show it to you, but let me ask you a few questions. Have you been looking at homes? How long have you been looking at homes? And then you follow that script of, have you been pre-approved? How are you planning on paying for the home? So on and so forth. The idea is you're trying to create or trying to find out if the person on the other line has a pulse, or are they just going to waste my time? So we don't want to waste our time on sign calls, because now you drop everything you're doing to go show the home to someone who can't afford it or cannot buy, or he's not even serious about buying. So you control the tempo of the conversation with the line of questions that you ask. Action, benefit, close. So you always ABC for the appointment, and you always go for a consultative buyer's presentation. What I like to tell the people or the agents starting out is try to invite the buyer to come into the office. Let's meet face to face. What that helps us does, right, HBAS, what that helps us does is it helps us establish a relationship, get to know them, they get to know us. Now, if they took the time to actually come to the office and meet with you, it sends a message to me that they are pretty serious about the process, as opposed to them saying, nah, just meet me at the house. And you know what I mean? We don't show houses, we sell houses, right? So we're not showmen, we're salesmen. So don't get tricked into the, I'm gonna go show. Okay, I'd like to explain to you how the process works. Do you have 15, 20 minutes that we can get together this afternoon? I have some available time. And then go from there. So try to always invite them for a buyer consultation, because that goes a long way. And we'll teach a class on buyer consultation as well, and what you do in the buyer consultation. Facebook. Your friends on Facebook, you can get into relationships with them fairly quickly. And it's a tool, it's a relationship building tool more than a lead generation engine for most people. However, now with the way we are doing the campaigning and the ads, it can be used both ways. You can target ads for your list of friends only, or you can target ads for a particular geographic area or a farming area or a certain demographic. So Facebook is a very good source of lead generation, especially for agents who always ask, where can I go to get business? And the list of 10 things, I don't think you've seen anything that's like so hard to do. Everybody's capable of doing them. Facebook is just one of them, and it's free. There's no charge for you to have a Facebook. So Care, connect, alert, refer, and engage. So connect with your clients, alert them to information that's going on, refer them to where they can find the information or where they can get that resources, and then engage them in a conversation that in the event, hopefully you'll create more business out of it. Social media is not a lead generation machine, it's a relationship building engine. So again, this course was probably written back in 2016, which I bet you right now, if they were to rewrite this, the state would be social media is not only a relationship building engine, it's also a lead generation machine. So if we can rephrase that statement. The end goal is to get to a face-to-face, not Facebook to Facebook. So don't become that agent that just answers questions via Facebook. The idea is to actually use that to bring them in so we can do a consultation face-to-face. All right. And then it goes over the details of how you could create a list on Facebook to actually nurture and be able to market to your particular list of friends. So you can create a custom list to when there's a flyer coming in, you can take that list and send it to that particular group of people. So if you're doing Facebook lead generation and you're coming into, and you want to exclude a certain group of people from getting it, you could do that through custom lists. Okay, create a list of people so you can easily share with them and see their updates in one place. All right. We're talking about the nurture one at the very end. Active lead generators have 70% business realized from follow-up. Nurture equal follow-up, and follow-up equal money. The money, again, this sounds like a broken record. We keep talking about it all the time. Money is really in the follow-up. Money is not in the initial conversation we have. Almost all of the initial conversations are favorable, but they don't lead to business. It's only until the 8th, 9th, 7th, sometimes it's the 3rd, sometimes it's the 29th touch or call or follow-up that we actually end up getting some sort of business materialized. So make sure that you understand that the money is in the follow-up and that the follow-up is an important part of my business. I need to follow up. I have to follow up. You mark it down in your calendar and you say to yourself, I'm going to follow up with that person on Monday. And that's a good question. How much business have you missed due to lack of follow-up? How much business did we miss out on because we said, you know what, I'm going to follow up with him in 3 weeks. And then life happens and you forget and you get in business with other people and you get in, but you forget about that person. And then a month into it, you see that it's sold or that they bought a house through someone else or that they listed through someone else. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Let's make sure we stay engaged and we're still doing our follow-up. All right. Anything else? Any questions from the group online? All right. All right. So let me see if there's anything else we need to do. And we'll go from there. Okay, each one of you right now, kind of in your own way, jot down at least one action you'll take as a result of what you've learned today. You don't need to share it with the group. You can if you feel like it, but at least for yourself, think of 3 things that you will say, I'm going to immediately, or one action that I'm going to immediately implement starting today or starting tomorrow. Obviously, from this list, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Pick 1 or pick 3 and work on those and do them. All right. Thank you guys for attending. And as always, we're going to keep bringing valuable information to you. Anybody from the Zoom crowd, anybody has any questions, feel free to ask now. If not, we're just going to be signing out soon. All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.